Hello everyone and welcome back to the Stamp Box. Today I'm going to be looking at some interesting stamps from World War II. I recently came across a stamp inscribed Azad Hind, and I've done some research on this issue and its fascinating history. Azad Hind was the common name for the Provisional Government of Free India, which was set up in late 1943 to promote Indian independence from Great Britain. It was based in Singapore, which had fallen to the Japanese at that time. Their intention was to gain Indian independence by siding with the Germans and Japanese, while Britain was engaged in a war in both Europe and Asia. The group's leader, Subhas Chandra Bose, had previously travelled to Berlin in 1941, where the Germans set up a propaganda radio station. Many Indian prisoners of war from the North African campaign joined what was known as the Tiger Legion, and they fought for the Germans, including on the Western Wall defences. However, Bose later met Hitler and felt that his organisation was being used more for the Nazis' benefit than for India's. This opinion, coupled with Germany's disastrous military losses in Russia, persuaded Bose that Germany could no longer come to India's aid. As a result, he decided to return to Asia and continued in Singapore with the Japanese. As well as setting up a bank and a radio station, the provisional government also issued coins, banknotes, and a series of stamps. The stamps were semi-postals, that is, stamps issued with a surcharge to raise money for a cause. The postal denominations were from half an anna up to 8 annas, with surcharges of between 1 anna and 2 rupees. The surcharges were intended to financially support the provisional government. It's difficult to categorise these stamps. They weren't issued by any official British or Indian postal authority, so they could be called local posts or Cinderellas, and they do not appear in most catalogues. They are listed in the German Michael catalogue under National India, and they also appear in some Japanese specialist catalogues. The stamps were never issued and as such do not appear with any form of cancellation. Printing was done at the government printing works in Berlin, and 1 million of each design were printed, with the exception of a smaller run of 500,000 for the unsurcharged stamps intended for the Japanese-held Andaman and Nicobar Islands. The images include military, nurses, and an allegory of broken chains representing the freedom movement. The highest face value stamps showed 3 freedom fighters who had been executed by the British in the early 1930s. The stamps were issued both perforated and imperforate, roughly in equal numbers. It has been noted that there are many forgeries of the stamps, typically with poorer quality offset printing. At the end of the war in 1945, 3 leaders of the movement were put on trial for treason. This did not include Bose, who had been killed in a plane crash in August of that year. But the trials, held in Delhi and known as the Red Fort trials, seemed to backfire on the British. There were widespread protests in support of the defendants, and it even led to mutinies in some Indian military bases. Fearing more widespread unrest, Claude Auchinleck, Commander-in-Chief of the Indian Army, released the men. Information about the Azad Hind trials was suppressed by the British government, who feared more uprisings throughout their empire. Many historians credit the reaction to the trials, rather than the movement itself, with expediting Indian independence by many years. India gained independence on the 15th of August 1947, barely a year later. Bose has been commemorated many times on Indian stamps since, and he is prominently remembered at Republic Day parades commemorating those who fought for Indian independence. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed that episode. Please subscribe and leave a comment. Bye for now.